Welcome to another episode of Come Sit With Us here at EBS. We're very happy to have you here with us today. We kind of ask ourselves the question as to, what do we need in this moment? And what does anyone need in this moment? And I don't know that for anyone. How can you know what that person needs? But I would assume that in today's climate, it would be a pretty safe bet to say that folks need support, need maybe reassurance, need to feel a sense of feeling safe again, and things along those lines. And so sometimes what we have to kind of remind ourselves, is that when we meditate, we are trying to maybe calm those fears and worries a little bit and get above them in a sense, so that we can possibly, be there for that other person in whatever capacity that we can serve for that other person. And in doing so, we have to remind ourselves that, we don't know what they need, right? We don't have that knowledge. But if we can stand with presence of mind with someone as they go through suffering, worries, concerns, whatever it might be, then we provide a service, if you will, And the hard thing, I think, for me or people like me, maybe in a sense, is I want to fix things, right? It's a guy thing, particularly, I think, I'm not sure. But I want to fix things. And here, I'm having to remind myself that I can't fix anything. I really can't. I have to be able to stand there and be in that moment so that that other person maybe can benefit from that, and in some way maybe it helps them. Okay, it's not me helping them, it's them being in that moment with myself, and we share that moment, and then maybe that in and of itself provides help, provides support. And so today we're going to work on a meditation of just being able to be in that moment with those around us. And so the virtue that we practice oftentimes, particularly in the Buddhist tradition, is compassion. And I was reading something today that compassion is considered probably one of the greatest virtues that is recognized by all religions. It's just that kind of thing that is sort of rings true to humanity in our better forms, if you will. Interesting enough, though, is that the word compassion, the origins of that go back to suffer with someone. And when you look it up, whether it's the Greek or Latin or Old French, Old English, whatever, it kind of goes back to that definition of suffering with someone. And I think that in its best form, we're not getting pulled into another person's suffering, right? We're not getting sucked into that drama that they may be going through. Instead, maybe perhaps that we can stand by that person fully cognizant and in the moment of their suffering and be there with them, and that is that kind of presence of mind that we can bring to any moment that we're in. And so if you look at the world that you're in, and you may be blessed and fortunate not to have anyone in the hospital or anyone going through any kind of medical issues and on, so forth, which is great. But in this day and age, boy, it's not hard to feel the need of the world out there. And so sometimes that world that we live in is our family. Sometimes the world we live in is our coworkers. It's our neighborhood. It's our community. And it's pretty easy to find someone who is struggling a bit for different reasons, and know that they need someone standing by them at this moment in time. I think we can all find that person. So today's meditation, we're going to kind of work on seeing that opportunity, that moment, that time, that space of now that we can step into. And as we do it, we hold that other person in our thoughts, in our heart, and stand with them right in that moment. And the interesting thing about these kind of exercises, I think, is it's not so much about me. Yes, I need support. Several times this week, I really needed someone to stand by me, right? I need that kind of support. But in this exercise, instead of you being the person that's in need of it, imagine that you are the person that is standing in that light of compassion, and you're offering that to someone else, right? And when I have the presence of mind to fully engage in that, then I find that my worries, my concerns seem to take a back seat. And instead of them being right in the forefront of my mind, I can't see around them, they tend to fade back a little bit. And each time I practice this and they fade back a little bit, then maybe I have the opportunity to see the forest and the trees, instead of being drowned by it. So yes, practicing compassion has benefits for us, the meditator, but hopefully also for the people that we extend this out to. That's kind of the trick of it here. So let's go ahead and we're going to start the exercise, or start the meditation. And as with every time we meditate, it's just so very simple. It's just that coming and sitting down on a cushion in a chair, and then just slow your breathing down a little bit. It's not like you're trying to slow your thoughts down. That's kind of hard to do. It's hard for me to do. But when I slow my breathing down a little bit and start to reconnect with my body and feel my body as I breathe through it, then my mind, or those thoughts, naturally tend to slow down. They kind of start to not, be so distracting, if you will. They're always there, right? But they're not center stage. So we come, we sit. For me, I often sit in a chair. I have my hands in my lap. I take a breath. I want to feel that kind of that cleansing breath. We say that so casually, but if you meditate a bit and you take that long breath and you just see it come through you and kind of wash you clean a little bit, then that idea of that initial cleansing breath actually it's a very visual kind of exercise. So we take that cleansing breath because we know that we can't go into meditation and find that place of compassion and hold it to extend it to another when our mind is racing 1,000 miles an hour, or all of our worries are so focused on us. So we take that cleansing breath to kind of start the process of just relaxing. That's all we want to do. At this stage, it's just all of a sudden we start to have an awareness of maybe the space that we're in. I have an awareness of the room I'm in. And with each breath I take, I feel that awareness maybe a little bit deeper. I can sense that energy that's around me. I can see that expanding itself and kind of filling the room that I'm in. And that's my body beginning to integrate a little bit, and I begin to slow down a little bit. And I begin to have a sense of, something bigger here than just my normal random thoughts, if we will. And so as I do that, I close my eyes, and I just breathe. I take in deeper breaths and slower breaths. With each breath, I try to draw it in deeper and deeper. Sometimes at this stage, I'll draw my breath in through my nose, and I just let it out through my mouth very slowly. As we relax, feel your awareness just kind of growing. Your awareness is kind of expanding. It gets outside of your head, outside of all those random thoughts that keep bouncing around. And just imagine your awareness growing with each breath. And perhaps it fills the room that you're in. And today, we're going to practice compassion. So I'm going to breathe in through my heart. I'm going to breathe out through my heart. I just want to see that breath coming in through my heart. I want to feel it come into my body. And I want to feel it, and I want to see it leave my body through my heart. Feel this process. See this process. With each breath we take, imagine that door that guards your heart opens up a little bit more. Open that door as wide as you can and let it fill the room that you're in with each breath. Now imagine with each breath that you take in, you're breathing in compassion, that universal quality that all recognize and that we all know. Breathe it in through your heart. Imagine that you're filling up a pitcher of water. With each breath, you put in a little bit more water into that pitcher. With each breath, we bring in compassion into our heart. That door to the heart opens wider and wider with each breath of compassion that we bring in. let's imagine that we see someone in front of us that we know, that we care for. What we want to do is to breathe out that compassion to them and then hold them in that breath. With each time we breathe out, we fill their water pitcher with compassion. Just imagine this process occurring and see it with each breath out, going to them and filling them. We're going to do this for about the next 5 minutes. Okay, let's take a deep breath in. Let's bring our awareness back to the chair we're in, the cushion we're on, the room we're in. Let's just take a minute to be aware of those surroundings. And see if we can feel a difference from our meditation. It's always good to take a few minutes after you meditate and bring that awareness to your surroundings and integrate that meditative experience so that you have that awareness in your waking conscious, not just in your meditative conscious. So it becomes an integrated experience. And maybe in time, what happens is that we can bring that integrated experience more fully into our daily waking awareness. And so maybe next time you're in a situation with someone that you are standing by because they themselves are suffering, maybe in that moment you can take that deep breath, open your heart, literally, right? Feel that energy coming through you out to them and just holding that for a second. That is not bad. It's not a bad thing to practice a little bit, you know? I've spent many years meditating myself, and it's only been in the last few, actually, that I've become more cognizant of the need to integrate that meditative mind with my monkey mind. It's not choosing one over the other. It's having the two come together and work together seamlessly would be the best hope, I think, if you will. I mean, after a while, you kind of come to realize that the monkey mind is not your enemy. Your distracting thoughts are not your enemy. That they all are part of the process. And that even the suffering and the uncomfortableness that we go through from time to time is part of the process of awakening. And when we get to that presence of mind to kind of embrace that suffering, instead of trying to push away or hide from it or whatever it might be, then I think we further ourselves and everyone in our world a little bit further down the path, you know? And sometimes when I hear things like, you know, think about the suffering of the world, that's a big picture right there. And I can't always grasp that huge picture. But when I think about the suffering I see in my world around me, and I become aware of that, then I feel like, maybe I can be part of changing that, or part of the process of healing for that, whatever it might be. And I think that perhaps as we practice the art of meditation, then we also practice that art of being compassionately aware when we are around others. Right? That's not a bad thing, really, all in all. So today I hope, as I always hope, that maybe some part of this meditation touched you. Maybe it rang a bell with you in a certain kind of way. And if it did, if something draws you, then follow up on that. Pay attention. That is something within you calling. And sometimes it's, you know, it's worthwhile trying to listen a little bit, right? Because I think sometimes that intuitive self tries to come through that logical self and is trying to be heard. And then when you actually listen to it, maybe you've learned something. Maybe you have that part in you that is that great teacher, right? maybe the great teacher, the great Buddha, the great Christ, the great whatever, isn't outside of us somewhere far off in the distance that we're having to struggle to get to. But maybe that great teacher is always in there the whole time, and we just have to practice that art of listening. So maybe perhaps when we stand by another in compassion, maybe perhaps we're learning to listen to that higher self, whatever that might be for you. Right? So thank you today for being with us. And as always, practice the meditation, take it off the mat, bring it into your world, and then just hold it there for a bit. It's worth the effort. So thank you again. Thanks, guys. See you. Bye.